Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of the SIG Node CI subgroup. Today is Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. And we don't have anything on our agenda today, but we have a bunch of stuff from last time, so I may as well share my screen with the agenda. And I was thinking we should at least review some of the topics from last time. So there's currently nothing on the agenda, but we discussed a few things, including removing the node feature flags and having some better documentation for node conformance and how that is different than conformance, and then also the status of serial tests. So is there any particular order we would like to cover these things in? I'm just going to copy this and carry it forward. Whoa, that didn't work at all. What's going on? Something strange. There we go. Okay, well, let's just go in the order that we had last time. So where are we at with getting rid of node feature? Do we have anybody who wants to pick this up? We have this.
Yeah, I signed up last time on both on this one and not conformance, but I unfortunately didn't have time.
Yeah, I would rather we not have a single point of failure on Sergey. So is anybody else interested in this? I think that this is like, Aaron's written a pretty straightforward description here. For some strange reason, excuse me, we have a lot of tests that use like node versions of selectors instead of just regular selectors. And right now, I guess it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. So we want to stop doing that and maybe just use feature instead of node feature. And maybe we could even have a convention if we want to be able to match on node that they are like feature, node, so that way we can pick them up easily in the tests. But I think probably what would need to be done for this, looking in test infra, if I can, I'm always bad at this, but let me see if I can find our tests.
So the plan would be likely to add feature to every node feature first, then change all the test definitions, and then come back and clear up node featured flags.
Yeah, so we've got a number of these things like node feature and node alpha feature. So I think my suggestion would be probably the order that we would need to do this in is we would have to update all the selectors in the test infra jobs anywhere that node feature and node alpha feature is used to like pick up something else. For example, like feature like colon node blah blah blah. And then that would be followed up with some PRs in Kubernetes to update the names. So that way the tests don't all break, basically, when we do the rename, because otherwise we have a chicken and egg problem. Does that seem reasonable to you, Sergey?
Yeah, something like that. I think one of the reasons we had node feature is node selector. Like before we clearly separated SIGs, we may have had test run from like common folder, and then we needed node prefix, but now we clearly separate all the tests. And like you can always do extra filtering by SIG Node prefix because it's currently.
Oh yeah, that's right. There. That's right. We have the whatchamacallit, the SIG selectors now in all the tests too. So we could, instead of even having to worry about like having a feature node blah blah, we could just select on SIG node.
Yeah, so it's all fixed. It now like we just need to clearly articulate the plan, and that's what I wanted to do. Sorry,
No, that's okay. We've got lots of folks here. Does anybody want to take this on? I think this would be a pretty straightforward thing to get some contributions in test infra and in Kubernetes if someone's looking for like a first thing to jump into. And I think there'll be lots of help.
I'd be happy to take this.
Who is talking? Is that Mike?
This is, yeah, Mike. Miranda96. I can add myself if you want.
What is your your GitHub?
It's M Miranda 96.
Like that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm assuming you're not an org member yet, so I
Not
will
yet.
just,
Yes.
yeah, I'll just CC you without the / command.
Thanks.
Cool. Let me just add a couple of notes for that. Mike Miranda to drive. Need to update labels in both test infra and KK. And yeah, I guess let us know if you have any questions on that. Node conformance and conformance. So I think, yeah, we haven't really made any progress on this one. Do we have an issue open for this, Sergey?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Yes. Okay, let me pull up the board if I can find it.
I remember it has very long history.
Well, there's that, which is different. Node conformance. Did I spell it wrong?
Or maybe it's node conformance versus kubelet versus regular tests. We had this
well,
issue.
I know that we have this one.
Yep. No, different one. Let me.
Which is just like a job that's broken. I'm not sure that we have an issue to document the criteria for node conformance tests.
Oh no, we don't have issue to document. I think we had an issue to define the difference between node conformance and some other tests.
I think we should make one for documenting that, and it probably would be in the community repo, not in KK. Since this is where the documentation would live. Yeah, there's a closed issue. But that's not relevant.
Yeah, maybe we need to make it on test infra repository because it will also involve changing some tests and potentially even changing the.
Yeah, it will, but I mean, at least for this one, I think the main ask, we really need to get the docs updated so people know what node conformance means. And so I think that would live here. And then we've got like at least 3 or 4 other issues talking about node conformance jobs in both test infra and KK and kind of all over the place. So this is probably the right place to put the documentation issue. Document the purpose and, I don't know, criteria for node conformance tests.
Yeah, last time we discussed maybe even rename it, like get rid of node conformance, have CRI conformance.
Yes. I will copy the Slack discussion. Today is the 23rd. I think it was also the 16th. Is there anything else I should capture in this issue? I guess we didn't really have much else in the notes from last time, so. Anything else I should put in this issue, or should I mash submit?
Is it only a node discussion, or it should be validated by, I don't know, the steering committee or something?
Oh, steering wouldn't look at something like this because steering mostly deals with governance. SIG testing might care about this, or the conformance subproject in SIG architecture. So I could add SIG testing to this. Okay.
And in the OpenShift issues, you don't have something related, since you were looking at it from the cryo point of view now.
Oh yeah. So Cryo wants to add some like tests, but those are mostly to cover like so that we don't just have one container runtime in the right. Like if they're CRI conformance tests, we want to ensure that we're testing more than one container runtime. And the other thing about the Cryo tests is they have coverage for the system D driver, and I don't believe that the container D tests do. So there's nothing else testing those code paths. So. But that's not relevant to us needing to put together a spec basically, or like documentation for these CRI conformance tests. Let's see. And if somebody wants to start working on this, the place that this would belong, I believe, would be either in the contributor development documentation. I don't know if it would either be in SIG Node or SIG testing, because a bunch of the test documentation already exists here in SIG testing, including conformance tests. So maybe we would have a link in the conformance test docs into the SIG Node repo, which talks about node conformance or CRI conformance or what have you. Okay, I will put this item last, but I will remind you about the bug scrub serial tests. Francesco, you've been looking at those, right? Do we have Francesco still? I thought he was here at the beginning.
I can see him, but
oh yeah, he's here, but I can't hear him.
Yeah, probably some problems with his microphone.
Oh. Yes, I can hear something now. Francesco, do you have any updates on serial tests? Oh. Maybe we don't have him. Arjun, do you know what's going on with them?
He chatted something in the
Yeah,
chat.
exactly.
Oh.
It's currently not a lot of updates.
Okay, sorry, I was not looking at the chat. Not much updated, still working on them. So we split out the eviction tests. I don't know if we've done that for the test repo yet for Cryo. I think we just skipped them. I might owe Odin a review. Do we want to look at some of the issues? This looks like it needs an approver. I guess I haven't. Oh, we have some new issues. It looks like we have some tests for node problem detector flaking. This one looks like there's a PR up. Who is working on this? This person. And looks like Shuming is working on this one. Cool. I don't think I have anything else for CI subgroup. Sergey, do you have anything?
No. Sorry for being slow today. I'm still recovering.
I understand. Okay, and then I guess the only other thing we had on the agenda is we're doing a bug scrub. It starts in my evening today and will be the next 2 days. So Thursday, Friday, depending on where you are in the world. And we don't have a lot of people signed up right now to help with the Americas. So if you want to help out in NASA region, we only have one mentor signed up outside of me and Sergey. So I would appreciate if we had some folks on the call who would be interested in doing that. It would be preferable that either you are, well, that you would be both an org member and like have been to a bug scrub before and kind of know what mentors at bug scrubs do, but you probably one or the other is totally sufficient. So if you have been experienced in a bug scrub, but you have are not yet an org member, it would be a good sort of thing to get experience in. Or if you're an org member, but you have not yet mentored at a bug scrub, you could learn how. So there is a sign up form, which I will link from the Slack, if I can find it. And I think we've got lots of volunteers in APAC and EMEA, so that should be good. Anything else for today?
So just to understand, you created a Zoom meeting for the bug scrub, and
Yes.
we can just be there, like the captains should be connected to it all day, or?
Yeah, that was my sort of idea. I mean, probably people will drop in and out, but we should make sure that there's at least somebody who has host in there at all times, just to make sure, you know, if some rude person drops in, that they can be kicked out. And because the links are public, so there's always a risk of that. I think it's mostly going to be like kind of hallway track for people to chat. I don't know if, like, you know, people might want breakout rooms or something like that. I think that functionality is available, so but not entirely sure. I haven't messed around a lot with Zoom, so
Yeah, we can always do, like, if somebody wants to break out, they can create their own meeting room. It's not recorded anyway.
yeah, it won't be recorded. The key thing is a lot of Kubernetes contributors don't necessarily have Zoom accounts, so they can't necessarily make their own Zoom rooms and that kind of thing. So that is why we have sort of a hallway track hosting thing for the group.
Yeah, it makes sense to have a common room.
Yeah.
Okay, me also, I will probably be online much earlier than when EMEA is supposed to start. So yeah, I will see.
Yeah,
how
feel
it
free.
goes.
I'm probably going to be around for like a bunch of the, at least early in the APAC shifts as well. So it just depends on, like, most of our APAC leads are like, we've got a bunch of folks in India. And I don't think we have any volunteers from Australia, for example, but like India people are like, it starts so early. I'm like, well, it's not early for New Zealand. So, you know, somebody's got to be there to receive them. So it's a global event. We've got people everywhere, not just one place or one time zone. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You can, of course, let me know if you have any questions or need anything. And I hope that all of the folks who are on this meeting, I will see you the next couple of days scrubbing bugs.
Yeah, maybe just one more question. Do we assign, I mean, how do we keep track who is looking at which bug?
So that's up to
the
each
game.
mentor or region captain to sort of coordinate. That's why we're splitting it, because otherwise it's just way too much to track for one person. So the idea would be, you know, you have a bunch of newcomers and you've got a list of bugs as like a mentor or a region captain. And so somebody's like, I need a bug. And so you'll say, okay, why don't you look at this bug? Why don't you look at this bug? And so on. And we've got, you know, I think each player has about somewhere between, depending on the player, 20 to 40 bugs. So that should be enough to last for 2 days. If you
Yeah,
need
but-
more
but I
bugs,
mean,
like if
we-
you run out, you can just like leave a note in the channel, because right now we don't have enough mentors in NASA, so we might have extra bugs.
Yeah, but I mean more like we make like a Google sheet or something to keep track, to remember to poke someone if he has advanced.
Oh, I think that would
on
be
the-
much too complex and liable to get out of date. I would try to assign people in the GitHub issues themselves. But in a lot of cases, like some of these can be closed pretty quickly. So there's no point in assigning somebody to something that you're just going to close out. If you want someone to investigate something, then certainly assign them to it so that they can then put a report on it and know that like other people are not looking at the same thing. But yeah, that's what assignments in GitHub are for.
Yes, yeah. It's like putting a mutex on it to make sure we don't.
Exactly.
Especially if we are like 2 captains and many mentors and okay.
Yeah, the only thing that I did create sort of an external thing for that's like not in GitHub is I know that there are a lot of like features, and generally we probably shouldn't be tracking features in GitHub issues in KK because it's just kind of, it's hard to go through them all. It's hard to prioritize, and like anybody can file a feature request there. So if you see, for example, like, you know, there's a bunch of different issues all related to one feature, or there are like a lot of different requests for a particular thing, you might want to note them in, I created a doc for like feature stuff. So that way, sometime in the future, maybe at a SIG Node meeting, we can maybe go through and like prioritize, hey, we've gotten all these feature requests. Is that on our roadmap kind of thing?
Hey, Alana,
Hey.
does this involve to finish the work and like do a PR, or only like find out what is the bug about and dig down on these things? What's the
The primary goal is just to make sure that every single one of our bugs gets looked at and that the stale stuff gets closed. But if you find a bug and you're just like, I'm really passionate about this bug and I want to fix it, and you know, I think it has high impact and it will be helpful to fix, please fix it. Like that's what this sort of event is for, because otherwise we wouldn't know that like, oh yeah, there's this bug and it's like bad. That's often one of the funnest parts of doing a bug scrub, is going and submitting PRs to actually get the bugs fixed instead of just, you know, updated and closed.
that's cool.
Even if you put enough details how to fix this bug, just apply /help, and it will help. Like, it will help new contributors to find issues to contribute.
Yeah, and tell them how to fix them.
All right, makes sense.
Cool. Any other questions? I think we should end early today because I think the main node board is pretty up to date. I was triaging it yesterday.
Okay, bye.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. See you.
See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
My